What's up, YouTube? It's good to be back. Good to be on this channel, and I'm always happy to be here with you guys, just chatting about life and everything that goes into it. So, correct me if I'm wrong, but I've come to the conclusion, at least it seems, that if we can just ride out this storm together and figure out how we're going to get through the next few weeks, months, days, even years, we're going to be okay. You know, ultimately, there's all these people around us that are, either uplifting us or they're going against the grain and, you know, it's becoming to our detriment to deal with certain people, our enemies. There's all these distractions, right? But ultimately, all that really matters is that you make it. So you really just have to focus on the grind and focus on yourself and really just doing everything you can do within the moment to say that you did the best you could and you really just pushed. That's all that's required is for you to get through. Nothing else matters. No other opinions matter from people, this and that. I think it's all really just a big distraction. It's whether it's you know, places, things, ideas, you know, we really just need to get through the next few months. And I hope that y'all can do that. And I hope that this can be an inspiration to you. I think that it's really just going to be tough for us to make this transition where we just need to be consistently in the grind and on the grind. I mean, I don't know that the world's going to be at a place anytime soon where we don't constantly need to be working, to improve ourselves. It's it's almost like how can we focus on anybody else when we're just trying to stay afloat and focus on ourselves. You know, that's what it seems like. And it gets tough. You have your ups and your downs, and things are not what they seem sometimes. But we got to stay motivated and strong. We got to push through. We got to do our best to ultimately win in this life. So don't worry about negative opinions or distractions from other people or just what other people are saying or doing. Really doesn't matter at the end of the day because their job is to kind of throw you off your square unless they're supporting you, which is great, but that's their job, is to kind of like throw you off your square and keep you on your toes. But they don't know about that tough financial situation you're dealing with. They don't know about that death in your family that you're dealing with, or that loss of a a dear friend, or a pet in the family, or that health issue you're dealing with, or the mental issues you're dealing with. They don't care, but I do. And I just wanted to let you all know that y'all are worth it. Y'all are the little puzzle pieces that make this thing work in life. And without you, there is no mission. There are no hands to build houses. There are no servants to do God's will. You know, God could have easily just snapped his fingers and said, boom, everything's done. I don't need these humans on earth to be servants for my kingdom. I can just do, I can just have everything done and finished, and there's no need for faith or anything, or need to obey me or anything. But he didn't do that. He created you to serve and to be who you are. And listen, you're doing it. And that's all that matters. And that's what I'm trying to tell you is that, even if things aren't perfect, forget perfect. This world is so screwed up right now. It's perfect wouldn't even feel good. That's almost what I feel like. I feel like perfect, like the most ideal situation on this earth would not even feel right. I know that because I've been in that situation before. Like, yeah, like I'm set, right? And then there's like nobody there. You have nobody in your life to turn to. Like nobody gets you. You're lost. You're a lone soldier. You just feel like you have everything, but you have nothing. So I think I ultimately created this channel because I think it's a mindset shift that has to take place within us. And I think, and I know deep down in my heart that the the greatest gift and the greatest thing you can invest in is yourself, your mindset, your thought process, your mindset. You know, just keep that. I think that is the new currency. It's like the new gold. If you can invest in that, you're gonna have the right idea. If you got the wrong idea, what's the point of having everything? If you're just doing it for the wrong reasons and you're doing it for the wrong people, you're not satisfied. Excuse me. But I've noticed that material things can't satisfy us. I've noticed that no matter I've also noticed that no matter how much work you put in, there's always going to be a bill there. There's always going to be somebody who stabs you in the back, somebody who you can't trust. No matter how hard you push, there's going to be the opposite side pushing back even harder, even further, just for the sake of pushing back. And a lot of times we live in these cycles where there's just no time. I get it. But the time for you to have the mindset shift is now. So do what you will with it and make it happen for yourself. Serve the higher power. Serve God with your gifts. Give abundantly to those if you can, if you're able to. Maybe even just a kind word, a kind gesture will go the distance. I remember just like putting in countless hours into a grind that didn't even really like serve me to the point that I deserved. Just any grind. the life grind, the daily routine grind, you do it out of love now. Now you do it out of love. You do it out of not routine, but mindset. We talked about mindset, and it's all about mindset. You have to do it for the people you care about. You have to do it for the right reason. And I think the right reason is, serving the creator. And, you almost have to ask for nothing in return. I think the mindset shift is going to give you back what you were missing when you had all that abundance, all those material things, when you were abundantly wealthy and you thought you had everything. But it'll being having a mindset shift and being in the right state of mind will shift that and for you, and really, put the pieces together that you were missing when you had all those things. You thought you had everything, but then you realize, like, later in life, that you can't have both. I mean, you can have both. Like, if you're plugged into, like, okay, I'm doing this for the right reason. You have the right state of mind. You're plugged in up here. When you do it for the right reasons, that's when you get the gifts. And they come in and they overflow, and then you can give back to people. But really, it doesn't feel like you've been blessed. It doesn't feel like you've been blessed with those gifts. You just are blessed that you have an abundancy with mental health. You're on the right track. You're doing it for the right reasons, like I said. So I feel like I'm dropping some gems here. But we talk about goals. Forget the finish line, man. Like, just live. Live every second like it really counts. I'm telling you, 9 out of 10 people that I know, if I put them on the spot and I was like, look, I know you're judging your neighbor for X, Y, and Z, and you're not getting along with your sister, and you're putting up a fight with your cousin, and you and your friends are at each other's throats again. You don't like that coworker or whatever. You don't like that boss. You don't like that guy who cut you off in traffic. But if I told you it was your last day, would you make that change? Would you do what you needed to do to become the person you need to become? It takes a lot of work. But don't get me wrong, don't get it twisted though. Don't give yourself freely to those who don't appreciate it, who aren't giving you the right energy back. I don't think we need to be dealing with those people. Quite honestly, it's not worth our time. Don't focus on it. It's toxic. There's just no point. What is the point of me even talking to you if you're gonna be unreceptive and negative and evil, and you're gonna put me down? You're gonna stab me in the back. I'm not just some doormat. Y'all ever feel that way? Some people, you just feel like, yeah, I'm just like a doormat. You know what I mean? Look at farmers, for example, right? Farmers are really in service to God's country, to God, but his lands. Look at the sacrifice they make. They barely make it. They barely make any money, first of all. And they're literally like working their tail off, blood, sweat, and tears, and they're putting that into the ground, into the fields. Whether it's with machines or whatever, with their hands. It's like people wonder why that fascinates me so much. It is literally like the definition of like one of the hardest things, because like they sometimes they don't see their crop grow. They don't get back what they put in. But what they put into it, the work that they put into it, the mindset they have when they're doing it, that is the crop that really preserves, is what it teaches them and how they treat the land and their the way that they move. They're doing so much at one time, and they're in service to that land. It's what it's their calling. They're not worried about what I think or what anybody else thinks. They got their stuff going on, you know, and that's just one example. But y'all need to be like these farmers. You need to be in service to your crop, in service to your land, in service to what God's laid out in your life. Okay, when an arrow is shot, usually it's not going sideways or winding round and round in circles, looking for direction. It usually doesn't change direction, right? And then hit a different target. It's straight and true. You have to figure out when to aim and just hit that target. And if you're close, you don't hit the target, you don't get done what you want to get done, don't achieve what you want to achieve, try again to hit that target again, you know, or shoot at a different target in life. So be abundant, be wealthy in your mind, be preserve preserve your treasures for God's kingdom, the afterlife. You know, when I say the afterlife, I mean, being with God in his kingdom. That is for eternity. Those are the treasures that you should be building up, and um just keep pushing, because you're doing great things, and you don't need anybody who's in a negative space to tell you that. You're already doing it. So, all right, I love y'all so much. I just wanted to make this video, like, spill out some wisdom, but keep tilling those fields in your life and keep pushing. We live in a ever-changing world. If you can get your mindset right and you can remain faithful and you don't lose that, you're going to be able to get through anything. I love you all so much. See you all in the next video. Thanks. Bye.